So, what's the deal with multivitamins? Are they actually doing anything for you, or are we all just, well, paying for expensive pee? That's been the big debate for, forever. Well, today we're going to dig into some seriously groundbreaking science that might finally give us a real answer. I mean, could a simple little pill actually slow down how we age? Let's get into it.
Yeah, you've seen the headlines, right? On one side, they're screaming it's a total waste of money. And then on the other, you see these studies that hint it could be a secret weapon to slow down aging. So what gives? Which one is it? That contradiction, that's exactly what we're going to try and unpack today.
Okay, so this brings us to the big question, right? Are multivitamins just wishful thinking in a bottle, or are they a legit tool for healthier aging, especially for our brains? And to find out, we're not going to listen to the marketing hype. Nope, we're going straight to the science, to one of the biggest and best studies ever done on this.
Okay, allow me to introduce you to the COSMOS trial. Yeah, it stands for Cocoa Supplement and Multivitamin Outcome Study. And look, this was not some tiny little survey. This was the real deal, a massive, gold standard clinical trial. The whole point was to get hard, reliable evidence on what a daily multivitamin actually does for the health of older adults.
And here's the kicker. They didn't use some fancy, super expensive, custom-made pill. Nope, they used Centrum Silver. The stuff you can grab off the shelf at pretty much any pharmacy or grocery store. And that is so important, because it makes the results super relevant to what real people can actually go out and buy. The sheer scale of this thing is just mind-boggling, and that's what makes the findings so powerful. I mean, we're talking over 21,000 people, followed for more than 3 years. That's a huge commitment. So half the group got the real multivitamin, the other half got a placebo, a dummy pill. And here's the crucial part. Nobody knew who was taking what, not the participants, not even the researchers handing out the pills. That's called a double-blind study, and it is the absolute gold standard for getting rid of bias and figuring out if something really works.
All right, so we've got this massive, super rigorous study. Let's get to the good stuff, the part we're all here for. What did they find? Well, let me tell you, the results, they were a genuine shock. Not just to me and you, but to the actual scientists who ran the study. That's when you know it's big.
Okay, get ready for this. This is the first jaw-dropper. When they looked at all the cognitive data together, they found that taking a daily multivitamin slowed down cognitive aging by about 2 years. Just let that sink in. Over just 3 years, the multivitamin group had brains that were effectively functioning as if they were 2 years younger than the placebo group. Wow.
And if you're a visual person, this chart, it's called a forest plot. It shows you exactly what happened. Now, don't get bogged down by all the lines and squares. Just look at that diamond at the very bottom. That's the key. It's the summary of everything, the grand total effect. And you can see plain as day, it's not on the line. It's way over on the side that says favors multivitamins. The data is pretty clear.
And hey, it wasn't just outsiders like us who were blown away. Dr. Laura Baker, who was the head honcho for the brain health part of the study, she said her own team was shocked when they crunched the numbers. I mean, you found something real when the very scientists running the experiment are surprised by how strong the results are.
Okay, but the good news didn't stop with the brain. They also looked at aging on a cellular level. This is where we get into the cool difference between your chronological age, how many birthdays you've had, and your biological age. Think of it like this. Your chronological age is the year your car was made. Your biological age is the actual wear and tear on the engine, the rust on the frame. It's how old your body really is inside. And they measure this with something called an epigenetic clock.
So what did they find here? Well, this is the second huge takeaway. Over just 2 years, the multivitamin group showed about 4 months less biological aging than the placebo group. Now, it might not sound like a ton, but it was a real, statistically significant effect. It suggests that this simple pill was actually slowing down the aging process deep down, at the cellular level.
So who did this help the most? Well, they found something really interesting. The effect was even stronger for people whose biological age was already older than their real age when the study started. It kind of suggests the multivitamin might work best for people who are already aging a bit faster than they should be.
Okay, so let's recap. A brain that acts 2 years younger and cells that are aging 4 months slower. That sounds pretty incredible, right? But, and you knew there was a but coming, before you rush out and buy a giant bottle of these things, we have to look at the fine print. Because with science, it's never quite that simple.
Which brings us right back to the big practical question. Should every single person over 60 just start taking a daily multivitamin? Well, even the scientists who did the study say, whoa, hold on a second. And here's why. First things first, we need to be super clear about what the multivitamin did not do. Yeah, the cognitive benefits were cool, but it didn't actually reduce the number of people who are diagnosed with dementia, and it didn't reduce the risk of serious things like blood clots. So let's be real. This isn't a magic pill that prevents major diseases. Think of it more as a tool to support healthy aging, not some kind of cure.
Okay, second point. We've got to look at who was actually in this study. And it turns out the group was almost 90% non-Hispanic white. That lack of diversity is a huge limitation. It means we have no idea if these results would be the same for Black, Hispanic, Asian, or other groups of people. We absolutely need more research on this.
And last but not least, there's the actual pill they used. Yet, not everyone is a fan of the Centrum Silver formula. One expert, Dr. Ronald Hoffman, pointed out that the doses of a lot of the nutrients are kind of low, and some of the ingredients aren't in the best form for your body to actually use. He used the word bioavailable, which is just a sciencey way of saying easy for your body to absorb and put to work.
And that brings up a really fascinating question, doesn't it? I mean, if this pretty standard, some might say suboptimal multivitamin got these results, what could a really high-quality one do? You know, one with better ingredients that your body can actually absorb more easily? Could the benefits be even bigger? It's a great question, and right now we just don't have the answer.
Okay, so we've got these really impressive results on one side, and on the other, we've got some pretty big limitations and open questions. So let's try to pull this all together. What does all this science actually mean for you?
I think Dr. Zishan Khan, another expert in this area, really hit the nail on the head. He summed it all up with two words: cautious optimism. This research, it's a fantastic, super promising first step, no doubt about it. But we have to remember, just because we can slow down that epigenetic clock in a study, that doesn't automatically prove it's going to make you live a longer, healthier life. The connection seems likely, it's really promising, but it's not 100% guaranteed just yet.
So putting it all together, here's your takeaway toolkit. 4 simple things to keep in mind. Number 1, food first. Seriously, this is not negotiable. You can't eat junk and expect a pill to fix it. Real food is the main event. A multi is maybe the backup singer. Number 2, bridge the gaps. Look, as we get older, it just gets harder for our bodies to absorb stuff like vitamin B12 and D from our food. So a multi can be a good little insurance policy for that. 3, look for quality. The supplement aisle can be kind of the Wild West, right? So to make sure you're actually getting what's on the label, look for a little seal from a third-party tester like USP or NSF. That's a good sign. And finally, number 4, and this is a big one, talk to your doctor. Don't just guess. A simple blood test can show you exactly what you're low on. Then you're not just taking a shot in the dark, you're supplementing with a real strategy.
So look, the Cosmos trial didn't settle the multivitamin debate once and for all, but it absolutely changed the conversation, big time. For the very first time, we have really solid evidence that an affordable little pill might actually have a real, measurable impact on how we age, both in our brains and in our cells. The science has given us a massive new piece of the puzzle, but the final question, is a multivitamin the right answer for you? Well, that's a question for you and your doctor.